Story time. So a couple days ago, I was drinking my coffee. Cheers if you're drinking your coffee. Um, and the milk tasted slightly off. And the milk actually tasted kind of off since I opened the gallon. This was a newer gallon, and I'm like, it'll be fine. You know, I'm kind of one of those people, I'll play on the edge a little bit with food. I don't know if anybody else is like that. Comment below if you are. I push the page a little bit with that. But I really started to realize after I was like taking a few sips, I'm like, this is actually kind of making me sick. I'm gonna have to dump this. So moral of the story here is to trust your instincts and don't make any justifications when you are traveling or by yourself in a city that you don't know. I want to talk to the parents of anybody who has kids that want to study abroad, and the young ladies who are, have an interest in studying abroad, listen up. So the first time that I studied abroad, I was 15 and I went to Mexico City. For context, I'm from Illinois, grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and I flew from Chicago to Houston to meet other students around my age who were studying abroad as well in Mexico. We flew out from Houston to Mexico City as a group, but we were not sitting next to each other on the airplane or anything like that. So there was a little bit of a support there in the airport in Houston, just getting ready to go as a group. But from that point on, we were all going to different families. So what are a few tips for those kids who are interested in studying abroad and for parents who are curious about this and want to ensure that their kids are safe? The first thing is you want to have paper copies, printouts of all important paperwork and important places, such as having several copies of your passport or your ID or your ID, having a printout of the embassy, the nearest embassy. You could have a printout of it both on a map and just having the address. So you could have a map of, from where they're staying to the embassy, just so they know and they're familiar with it and how to get there in case of emergency. And then also having a business size card of the phone number and the address of the family where they're staying, just in case, if let's say you get separated from the family for whatever reason, you can have that in your wallet just in case your phone goes out. Maybe you lose battery power or you don't have access to Wi-Fi, then you always have a copy of how to get back to where you're staying. And then the second thing is to really stay mentally sharp at all times, even when you're with the family. Just being aware of your surroundings and knowing how to get places, becoming familiar with the city and how to navigate it, and just really staying aware at all times. I don't want to say you don't need to have your guard up 100%, but to the extent that you're always having your safety in mind. And then the third thing is ignore, don't engage. If you're on the street and somebody starts talking to you, I don't care if they're friendly or not. You do not know that person's intentions. So what I recommend is ignore, don't engage, just keep walking. You can pretend like you're listening to something in your headphones. You could pretend you're in a rush. There's so many different ways to handle that so you don't feel rude to the person. Obviously you don't want to make them angry, but you want to protect yourself first. So those are my top 3 tips if your young child or teen is wanting to study abroad. For me, just so you know, I was the youngest in my group to go. Most people were 16, 17. They were juniors or seniors in high school, and I was just finishing up my freshman year. I had just finished my freshman year, so I was literally just turned 15. So in a way, I was lucky to go, but it was, I had experience traveling with my family prior to that, so that's something you may want to consider too. What experience does your kid have traveling? And that can support them when they go on their own. So comment below if you have any questions, and I'd love to hear from you and support you and your family if your child does want to study abroad.